Hey everyone, it's New again. How y'all doing? Welcome to the hype train, because it's almost season 3.17. We got like less than 48 hours left till it comes out, and I suspect you've probably been doing what I've been doing, which is taking a look at the new Atlas passive tree, going through it with a fine comb brush, and figuring out for yourself what you want to do. I suspect you've probably been looking at a lot of different content creators' work. There's a wide variety of different strategies. It's pretty clear that there's no obvious one strat wins all thing going on here. It's going to be tons of testing. We're just going to have to do it and try it out in real time. But if you're here watching me in this video, and especially if you're a subscriber, I'm willing to bet you're probably here for something that has to do with Blight mapping. Yes, last season 3.16, I kind of championed this Blight mapping, exotic, quadruple tier 1 exotic Watchstone strategy in core, where you just did as much Blight as you could in as short a time as possible, skipping the map boss, skipping almost every other type of encounter because it just didn't seem to be worth it. And consequently, if you were doing that, here's a little bit of eye candy for you. You could turn this into this. Yes, my friends, that's possible. At least in 3.16, until we got some awful news that core map is being taken out of the map pool. I was so devastated when I learned that. But you know what? Honestly, out of all the news that's come across my desk in preparation for 3.17, that was really the only piece of bad news that we got. Everything else has been great news. And all in all, TLDR, I'm feeling really good about mapping and Blight, despite the fact that I'm seeing almost nobody else talk about it, which is another reason why you're probably here, because nobody else is talking about this for some reason. There's, again, a lot of variety that I'm seeing out there with the Atlas passives and content creators coming up with their different builds. A few common denominators, most notably Essence. Everyone and their dog is going to farm Essence at the beginning of the season, and it might actually crash the Essence market a bit pretty quickly. I don't know about that. We'll see. Essence looks extraordinarily strong this season, just in a much better place than it's ever been, even despite losing it on the crafting Atlas crafting bench, where you put in your crafting mod. So this video I am separating into kind of three parts. I'm just going to go over kind of how I brainstormed to arrive to this place about farming Blight. You know, the pros, the cons, kind of how my impression of it changed a little bit over time, especially upon learning some of the new Atlas passives, how it's all working out. For example, I was initially thinking about just doing a short game, start clearing the map, not worrying too much about Atlas passive, just get the mandatory passives, get T16 map or T14 plus map, a good map, and then just get right in there and start farming. But turns out that's not going to be the best strategy, I'm afraid. Thanks to quadruple Voidstone T16 all maps, which is apparently a thing, that's going to make a big impact on Blight mapping, I feel. So instead, going long game, and yeah, that's kind of the story there. Second part of the video, I'm going to go over specifically my league start, like the moment you get into maps, what I'm planning to do up to the point where I more or less complete my Atlas, because despite my initial planning, I am going to basically try to complete my Atlas before I even start farming Blight. So what is my route to do that? And then part 3 of the video will be featuring basically what I'm doing after that. So the part where I transition from that Atlas tree and start building into Blight, and to the point where I'm basically on the ground running towards the Headhunter, the most coveted belt in the game. Well, second to Mage Blood. For me, it's the most coveted belt in the game. I actually don't really care that much about Mage Blood since I'm a mapper. Oh, by the way, I should have mentioned at the start of this video, if you are planning to make a bosser this league, this video is probably not going to be that valuable to you, because it's basically focusing on a mapping strategy, getting your Atlas completed as fast as you can, almost in totality, and then mapping Blight as fast as you can, and a few other things to talk about there. So yeah, first part of the video about sort of the brainstorming thing. So you could see the picture here. This is the kind of things that we were looking at back in the day. Let me pull it up here. Okay, so you can see a before and after picture And this was not a typical result in the core map, but it did happen. And a typical result was something like 8, 9, 10, or even more. One lane converged together, or rather all lanes converged into one, because when Blight spawned, it didn't have a chance to really branch out. And so we need a map like core in order to duplicate this sort of thing. It's not going to work on most maps. The vast majority of maps, this is not going to work. There is fortunately one map that came back to the pool, which I was really eager to use last season until I found out that it was stripped from the pool in 3.16, and that map is Toxic Sewer. So I am looking forward greatly to Toxic Sewer for multiple reasons, which I'll get into. I think Toxic Sewer has a great potential to be even better than core was. Maybe people have tested out Toxic Sewer in the past, I'm not sure, but this whole like Blight farming on core thing seemed to be a new developing meta that occurred last season. This idea that you were going to go exotic Voidstones and try to pump up as many Blight map oil chests as you could in one map and just spam those maps to get, you know, results like this, which obviously are not common results, but again, it does happen. I was averaging over 2 blighted maps per blight encounter. Let me just put it that way. So, you know, you do the math. And blighted maps, by the way, last season were not even worth as much as they've been in the past. And that's because I think, you know, people were just there was other aspirational content. People were just focusing on other things. And unfortunately, Blight Ravaged maps turned out to be pretty much the weakest form of aspirational content that we had last season. It really was a bit lackluster. And a lot of good news to say here. One piece of good news that came across is this change in the patches here. It says Blight Ravaged maps. Problem: Blight Ravaged maps were generally not as rewarding as regular blighted maps. Yeah, it was actually kind of hilarious that regular blighted maps were worth more than Blight Ravaged maps. It's really dumb that would be like that. Well, their solution, pretty significant. Blight Ravaged maps now have map item quantity modifiers, also affect Blight chest count at 40% value instead of 20%. So, you know, if you roll a map and you get around 100% additional quantity on the map, you're effectively adding about 20% more quantity to the map that it already had. That's a pretty big deal when it comes to, you know, blighted maps. So I'm really delighted to see that change. I think it's going to put blight map farming, you know, kind of back on the map a little bit. There's always a contingent of the player base that every league start, they just farm blighted maps and blight ravaged maps. That's what they do. That audience will be there. That buyer's market will always be there. And I'm telling you what, if there's not very many people selling those blighted maps, especially this season, I think they're going to go up in value. I think they're going to be worth a fair bit more than just 20 chaos apiece like they were, 18 to 20 chaos apiece like they were last season. Another big issue with core is that it was a T14. T14 blighted maps, or T14 could only drop T13 and T14 blighted maps. It could not drop T15, T16, and it turns out that T15, T16 especially, are worth quite a bit more, like significantly more, like 30% more. Like this T16 is worth about 30% more currency than a T13, for example. Like that's what the market showed. You know, the market never lies, I guess, in that respect. So, the fact that we are now able to put T16 into whatever we want, any map we want, that's a huge deal. And that's basically the second piece of big good news that I got on here. So, also about doing that farming core, one of the big problems with core map in general was the map boss. I almost don't even want to talk about it. I hate that map boss so much. Total waste of time. We're talking about a map boss that can kill you easily, that has not one but 2 separate phases, that has multiple invulnerability phases for each phase. I mean, he's even worse than Invincible, basically. Takes longer to kill and more dangerous than Invincible, which is a notoriously annoying map boss to have to kill. So I'm super happy to actually get off of core, if I can. Hopefully Toxic Sewer or some other map is really good, a really good contender. Now, we're going to go into, I want to show you guys here, as I get into part 2 of the video, something that Chris Wilson said here. He's going to show it here. Okay, so right there he says 117 passives come from completing maps. As you see here, it says I have 128 points to use. Now, let's see what he says next. $117 plus 15, that's 132, my friend. So I don't know why it says 128. So something's not quite matching up. I've heard Chris Wilson use this the 117 number twice, actually. So either this website is wrong, or Chris Wilson's wrong with his math. You know, I'm not a math wizard, but clearly the numbers don't add up there. But anyway, I kind of believe him when he says 117 points devoted to completing maps. Now, I guess it is possible that when he was including the map invitations, like the original invitations from the Maven, maybe, but I don't think he was, because he goes on to say, okay, 5 of the 11 are from the standard invitations, which I was referring to. Okay, those are the big ones. That's the feared, the twisted and stuff. I don't plan to do those if I can help it. So that's one thing. I'm trying to build a tree that doesn't require me to go that deep into completing the Atlas, because that's a real pain to do. So 2 of those will be mini bosses. Of those 4, will automatically kill those. So those 2 will be unlocked for sure. Now the actual the pinnacle bosses that he's referring to, that's going to be a little harder to do, and I don't know if I'll be able to do it at league start, but yeah, anyway, it looks like we're looking at around 125. To me, in my mind, I'm thinking about 125 passive points. Could be respectively get, fairly early in game without having to kill any really like super hard and high-end bosses. And that's all he has to say there. So I just wanted to play that so I kind of show you where I'm coming at. So for me, I'm allocating around 120, 125 points to what I can do. So here, let me show you. This is kind of part 2 of the video now, and I'm going to show you kind of the path I'm taking. I like the idea of doing Essence because it just got buffed to like crazy town, and another big thing that's good about Essence is it's quick. It's quick and easy. One thing I don't want to do, I want to stay away from encounters that take a lot of time. I'm sure as hell not going to be doing Expedition, for example. Also, encounters that kind of require scarabs to be farmed efficiently, like Expedition, or Metamorph needing gilded scarab, Expedition needing polished scarab. Things that take a long time and don't work in closed spaces maps, like Breach. Breach in Toxic Sewer sounds like a waste of time, in my opinion. So, yeah, I'm going to go to Strongbox too, because Strongbox is also instantaneous. It's really nice. This is the very beginning of the strategy. So I'm not even thinking about Blight right now. I'm just thinking about, okay, I have 2 goals in my mind right now at the very beginning of getting into maps. I need to complete my Atlas, which means I need to get as many maps as I can, which means I need to put as many magic and rare monsters on the map efficiently. If it doesn't cost me too many Atlas passive points, that's great. I think GG did a beautiful thing when they put these easygoing, just add a rare monster or whatever on the map like these are doing. Essence just adds a rare monster, an extra strong box. It will add an average of probably, a couple magic monsters or a rare or 2 monsters there. That's super great. Of course, I'm going to go down here and add 3 more rare monsters to the map there. It's really important that we get more rare monsters on the map, because when you're starting in white maps, yellow maps, oh my god, there's like hardly any magic and rare monsters. Even if you're Alk and Go, like, I'm not going to do anything more than Alk and Go at this point in the game. So that is the initial start right there. I really like the idea of putting a Harbinger on there. That I'm a big believer in what this does to adding monsters on the map. Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and fill that up, because I am actually going to go Harbinger. So it looks like I kind of have a trifecta here. I've got Essence, Strongbox, and Harbinger, and they're nice and quick and easy access, and you're just adding monsters to the map. I decided I would go ahead and go all the way with these too, because the Atlas, there's so many points to allocate that we can actually kind of go all in on more than just one strategy. It's not just about Blight anymore. That's another big change, and something that I had to reevaluate how I was going to approach mapping Blight in the beginning of this season. Not short game here, we're thinking long game, okay? I'm going to farm Essence, and I'm going to farm Strongbox, and I'm going to farm Harbinger. I'm going to farm them pretty hard. And even with those 3 in there, they're not going to be my primary farming strategy. Ultimately, it's going to be Blight. But yeah, we're gearing things up here, and it's great that we have these particular notables early on. There's just guaranteeing more rares on the map, essentially. From here, I could go down here and grab these essence modifiers, but these don't really help me in any way until I get the one up here. So instead, I could go down here. I think because I'm so close to this one, another thing I need to do is I need to be increasing the chance that my maps drop 1 tier higher. It will help me dramatically increasing the map. The other ones here, but I think instead I'm going to run up here on the left to bankroll a few Keurig missions over time. And then I really like this one up here because around this point, I will have undoubtedly unlocked Fortune Favors the Brave. And I kind of wishy-washy on using it. It feels like it's barely worth using, when it's kind of your only option at this point in the game. You're getting like late white maps, early yellow maps, late yellow maps. And I think that this particular notable is just really, it's great. It's a great notable. Hats off to whoever decided to do this because it really puts Fortune Favors the Brave on the map. Clearly, it's going to be a really good thing to pick. I will probably not have unlocked Ambush or Harbinger, which would be the ones that tie in synergetically. So at this point, I'm going to be running Fortune Favors the Brave. And yeah, and we'll go ahead and get these other few here, because it's also giving me extra tier on the maps that drop. Super big deal. Let's see. Next up, we have strong boxes. We got essences. We got Harbinger up here. We got Harbinger over here. But I think I'm going to close out the last one here to really pump up my chance of getting higher tier maps for the sake of completing the Atlas. We'll move up through here. It doesn't matter, go left or right. Strongbox is literally just right here, so I'm just going to grab these real quick. Now, I got to talk about this secret operation. I don't know how powerful this is. This is something we're absolutely going to have to test. If this thing just drops 1 or 2 scarabs, it's not going to be that great. But if it drops like 4 or 5, then holy cow, that's a really good notable. And that's going to really put Strongbox on the map. Fingers crossed, I'm hoping. So yeah, a big part of Strongbox farming in terms of how lucrative it is riding on this notable. It's a big part of it. So we'll see how it turns out. There's a few other things we're going to have to test, but we'll check into that one. Essence in general, we're going to have to test. People can pretty well theory craft how good it's going to be. It sounds like Essence is going to be about the equivalent of, we're guaranteeing 1 essence on the map. Like last season, we had 4 essences on the map, right? Because we had the 1 guarantee plus 3 more. It feels like this season we're going to have the equivalent of about 3 essences on the map instead of 4. But that'll free up a benchcraft slot, so that's great news. Let's see. From here, I'm trying to get this essence mounted because this is really important. This one here, that essence found in areas are 1 tier higher. Now I can really start feeling good about essence farming. I'm going to complete the essence farms here. This one's pretty good here. Getting the high chance of Remnant of Corruption is a big deal. Shrieking Essences, these two tying together super synergetically. It's going to be really nice. And I'll go ahead and after that I will finish out this. I don't really feel like it's worth getting these last 2 points. Now, if these said 5% chance to have an additional essence, what is it? Well, no, okay. Actually, I see what it's saying. I was mistaken here. I thought that meant just an additional essence in the initial one, but no, that actually means an additional essence. Okay. Changing my mind a little bit here. Okay. In real time, changing my mind a little bit. I do think it's actually worth filling those out. So essence is done. Essence is done here. Next, there's some strongbox nodes up here, but I think they're pretty far away, and it'll be the last thing I pick up. I should probably go get the Harbinger stuff now. I feel like this is the other node that we don't know about. Now, between Essence, Strongbox, and Harbinger, I'm against favoring Harbinger the most for one specific reason, and that is, when I was doing the 3.16 farm, I had an opportunity to farm either Strongbox or Harbinger. And I ended up favoring Strongbox because Why? It took no time. I just click it once, it's done. Gone. I continue moving forward. With a Harbinger, I have to stop. I have to wait. I have to kill the monsters. I have to wait for them to spawn. I gotta kill the monsters. I gotta wait for them to spawn. Kill the monsters. Well, that's still gonna be the case, but apparently they spawn 60% faster. Woohoo, man. That sounds nice. So I'm starting to feel a little bit better about Harbinger. And we're really going to have to test this bottom modifier here. Currency shards dropped by Harbinger in an area can drop as currency. What does that mean, can drop? Is that like 5% chance? 1% chance? 20% chance? Is it scaled based on the value of the currency? Like it never happens to exalted orbs, or exalted shards, but it always happens to orbs of binding or whatever. I don't know how it's going to work, so I'm going to have to test it. And yeah, so that's going to be unfortunate, but let's see. So to get up there, we're just going to go, yeah, because we just got this one here. Yeah, I don't know. This feels pretty good here, but anyway, you know, at this point, when I get these 2 strongbox nodes unlocked, I'll probably start running the strongbox in the Atlas passives, because that's right here. So I said earlier I'm going to be running Fortune Favors the Brave. Well, then I'm going to be running Ambush, right? Because I have a couple really good strongbox modifiers. This puts 4 extra strongboxes on the map. Seems worth it to me. But then we're going to continue and unlock all of these Harbinger nodes. They all seem to be pretty good, in my opinion. And then we have the ones here. I think, yeah, I do think it's probably worth it taking these first. You just get through the map faster. Getting a King Harbinger is going to actually slow you down. So this speeds you up, and it gives you a chance to drop currency. I kind of like the idea of getting that one faster. You're just going to get through the maps faster, you know? It's a big deal. Oh. Wait a second here. It looks like the better route would be this. Considering that's just 2 points there or 2 points here, and these points are more valuable because they actually add rarity on the map, so, yeah, want to be smart there. Except that I am going up there, so actually on second thought, it's wiser to go this way because you save 1 point. Because the next move is to go up here. Now, other content creators talked about this. I agree. Cartographer Strongbox, while it's amazing in the beginning, it rarely ever spawns anyway. But duplicated currency and duplicated divination cards with extra chances of getting each of those Strongbox. Oh my god. And putting Strongbox on the map and potentially running, you know, like rusted ambush scarabs. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that or not. Pretty good idea. But actually, I think I'm going to run the Harbinger. Once I get all my Harbinger nodes filled out, I'm going to run that one instead. Because honestly, that's... First of all, 2 Harbingers are worth more than 4 Strongbox. Let's be real. Like, generally speaking. Just, like, all things aside. All additional juicing aside, it's worth a lot more. And with juicing included, it's still worth more, I think. But again, you know, we're going to have to test how these nodes are, especially secret operations and unspeakable offensive. I don't know which one's going to be best. There's also a chance that Essence turns out not to be that great, especially if too many people farm it. So I'm referencing this now because later on, I'm going to have to decide to drop one of these. And I'll tell you why in part 3. Part 2 is basically done. So this is what my tree looks like with 33 points left. Okay, that's a lot of points left. Atlas is not yet completed, but it's near completed, and definitely in high tier red maps at this point. And I probably even got a Voidstone, or maybe a Voidstone at this point. Probably not actually, because the Voidstone is either Elder, Uber Elder, Maven, and both Pinnacle bosses. So I don't know how soon we're going to kill the Pinnacle bosses, especially. But, yeah, so, no, I don't think I have a Voidstone yet. But at this point, I'm going to start working towards Blight. So this concludes part 2 of the video. This is now getting into part 3. And we're going to take what we have here. We have, you know, if we can double check, we have all of the Essence nodes. We have all of the Harbinger. we have all of the strong box, and this is terrific because they just all run straight up the middle. And one big reason I like these, again, just to reiterate the point, with a little bit of excluding Harbinger, none of these things really slow you down in the mapping process. It's just very quick and easy. You go through them. Harbinger slows down a little bit, but nothing like Blight. Well, even though I'm going for Blight, it doesn't slow you down like Blight does. It doesn't slow you down like Breach, like Expedition. Or like Master Missions, things like that. This is quick and easy, and it allows me to, do what I set out to do, to farm Blight, deliberately. And now I'm going to take you through how I'm going to plan to do Blight. Now, I'm not really that concerned about doing Blight until I have it basically all finished. Great news on the Blight. More good news. This is part 3. Exotic Watchstones are back. Quadruple tier 1 right here, embedded into these 4 small nodes. Those are the equivalent of 4 T1 Watchstones. Now, I don't have Secrets of the Stone, so before it was around 25%. Now it'll be 20%, a little bit less. Not that big of a deal. Let's see. We also have the Mitogenic, which can be found right here. This is the equivalent of 1 T1 Watchstone, a 2nd T1 Watchstone, 3rd T1 Watchstone, and 4th T1 Watchstone. So I didn't expect this to be the case, but we get to have both of best of both worlds, rather. Best of both worlds. By you don't no longer have to choose. You get to have your exotic Watchstones and your Mitogenic Watchstones. And unlike a lot of farming strategies out there, that means a lot, because a lot of farming strategies, there's no like competition in the Watchstones. It's an obvious Watchstone set that you want to have, and there's no competition for it. Take Breach. You want to have Chayula Breachstones, right? Higher chance to spawn Chayula. Okay, there's not really any competition. I guess if I had a secondary option, I'd have a higher chance to spawn Ulnatul. But it's obvious that the best one is for Chayula. This one, there's a lot more contention between the two because they're both really good. And getting access to both of them is dramatically improving the where Blight stands as far as its farming potential in respect to the other farming strategies that exist out there. Now, don't get me wrong. Almost every farming strategy was buffed in some way, shape, or form. Not all of them, really. Like Harvest, I don't think was really buffed at all. But, yeah. Harvest also takes a lot of extra time, which is why I'm not doing it. I secretly recommend doing Harvest. Like, you could do Essence, Strongbox, and Harvest, or Essence, Harbinger, and Harvest. I think it might actually make more currency doing that, but I just really want to focus on Blight. So I don't want to spend all that time on TFT and doing all that stuff. So here we go. Let's go in here and see what we got. This is essentially the quickest way here. We got, I'm going to actually talk in detail about all these notables. So right off the bat here, we got an interesting notable. And again, this is not necessarily the order I thought. In fact, you know what? I will do this a little more seriously. Though these are not as good as some of the other ones. So the really important ones are over here. Yeah, that's not that great. It looks like... Yeah, it looks like the best ones are probably over here. So let's type Blight in. So here, okay, here's the order in which I would do it. We go over here. Nothing beats this top one here. Blight chests in areas have 80% more chance to contain blighted maps. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure we didn't have this last season. I think this was from one of the other... Originally, I think it was from either Lyra Arthane or Valdo's Rest, and then it got chopped. So, yeah, actually, I think it was from Lyra Arthane that got chopped off. It got off the chopping block there, and now it's been reinstated in here. So, bro, that's really big. That's really big, getting this back in here. This is actually huge, because whenever we get into a situation like this, imagine I have 80% more blighted maps. That what's it's going to do? So instead of getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blight maps in this particular situation, I would have gotten 15, 14, or 15 I would have gotten fewer oils, but I would have gotten 14 or 15 blighted maps instead of 8. Like, dude, that's unbelievable. Areas have a 1% chance to contain Blight encounter. I don't know if that matters. It depends on whether or not it feeds into this. Now, I actually didn't notice this until recently. Did anybody talk about this? Can somebody in the comments say something below about whether this, what the deal is with this? Because traditionally you can't. I remember there's some rumor about being able to get more than one Blight encounter or more than one expedition encounter, but I just can't quite remember the details, or if I'm just making that up or what. But I must not be making it up, because it says areas with Blight encounters have a 20% chance to contain an additional Blight encounter. I mean, it says it right there. That has to mean that a map can now contain 2 Blight encounters. It has to mean that. And if it means that, then it's also to suggest that this here, Blight encounters in areas contain up to one, wait a minute, wrong one. Sorry, I meant this one. Maps found in areas have a 3% chance to have an area contains a Blight encounter. If I'm not mistaken, with like, at this point in the Atlas, I'm going to have so many favored things already set in place. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure how that system works, but I think, again, another reason to go out of your way to complete the Atlas. Unlike when we did Core last season, we can actually sustain the maps if we do other things, like we're doing Harbinger, we're doing Strongbox, we got extra map favoring, and on top of that, everything is T16. So you're no longer evading the favoring system by dropping 14s and 15s that don't have any favors to them. It's all T16 if you have 4 Voidstones. T16 is going to drop the best quality blighted map. I mean, it's just good news on top of good news on top of good news. There's so much good news about farming Blight this season. I can't even contain myself how much good news this is. But anyway, I think back to it. I don't want to lose track, make the video too long. Epidemiology, mycelial swarm, if that's how you say it, going to be super, super strong, I think. I like these down here too. This also got put off the chopping block last time too. It was the Lyra Arthane node, the most powerful one. Helped you get through the map faster. Now at very beginning league start, this is actually going to make it a lot harder to do. You're going to fail some Blight encounters sometimes. I'm thinking about actually crafting, a 6x bow and maybe a 6x amulet that's going to be easy to get double skill gem on now, because you might need it for this particular notable. The one down here is also pretty cool, but I think the next thing we're going to do, it's nice, this stuff is all really close. Getting the T1 exotic Voidstone effects right here. Oils have a 25% chance to be 1 tier higher. Also, we did not have that last time, I don't think. Yeah, I think this, yeah, the top line on this is actually a platinum Voidstone modifier. Because there was exotic, there was mitogenic, and then there was this, which was clearly a step below the other two options. But, dude, it's nice to get that on there too. I mean, that's a big deal. Just right here. Once again, I actually exited out of that. That other screenshot you saw, there was an opalescent oil in there. Might have been a silver oil with this. So I think I'm going to go over here, and then we're going to do this. And then notice I'm down all the way down to 13 points. Now at this point, I'm going to have to start shuffling things around. I'm going to start running out of space. So I gotta really think about getting my orbs of unmaking on the table. It's going to cost me 2 regrets apiece. And we're going to remove some of this stuff here. At this point, I'm getting near a point, I'm also going to probably purchase the boss kills so I can get my 4 Voidstones. I'm not going to be a bosser. To get the 4 Voidstones, you're just going to have to buy the service on TFT probably. But hey, good news is tons of people are making bossers, so it's going to be a buyer's market. Pretty sure. Yeah, which is, more loot for us. So I'm going to get rid of these as I'm continuing along. We'll go up here. These are also pretty good. Varieties of items containing 1 Blight chest are lucky. I don't remember where that comes from. That's also bonus. Actually, on second thought, this is probably the worst. Yeah, this is the worst one compared to the rest. So on second thought, we'll go this way. Next. Ah, yes, because we got T1 mitogenic right here. And another brand new thing, or apparently maybe this is an old modifier that got scrapped a long time ago. I'm not sure, but I had to research this. And an oil extractor, what it does is it takes an anointed jewelry item, and then it rips off one of the oils that it took to make it and gives you that oil back and destroys the item in the process, I think. Maybe it doesn't destroy the item. No, maybe it doesn't destroy the item, just destroys the enchant. I'm not sure. Anyway, we're going to get tons of anointed jewelry anyway, and sometimes you're going to get anointed jewelry that is effectively has gold oils on it, or like triple silver or whatever. It's going to be really nice to use. I can imagine items that have like enchanted with a gold, black, and crimson oil. Well, that's totally worth using on there. Take the chance, get the gold oil. Worst case scenario, you get the black oil or whatever. It's still worth something. That's pretty sweet. So, or maybe you can just sell the extractors. I don't know. Probably use it for myself though. Move around here. Immune response. Hopefully at this point, my character's starting to get a little more beefy, and I think at the point in which I get the notables on the left and the ones on the top here, that's when I'll start farming Blight. That's when I'll start getting the maybe just rusted scarabs at that point. I don't know, maybe gilded scarabs, but I'll probably start trying to farm Blight at that point. Maybe not though. Maybe I'll just go ahead and wait, because there's still going to be Atlas stuff to clear, because I will also be getting rid of these, and now it will give me plenty of points left over to finish it out. And of course, once I'm finished out with all the Blight nodes, which I have at this point, I got a beautiful looking tree. I got all of the Harbinger, all of the Strongbox, all of the Essence, and the Blight. The Harbinger, Strongbox, and Essence is all fairly quick, easy going. Harbinger slowed me down a little bit. Imagine being on Toxic Sewer. You're going to want to clear the entire map now and do the map boss. We're going to have to clear the entire map now because we're going to be searching for a secondary Blight encounter, apparently. So having these other ancillary farming strategies is going to be nice, because we're already going to be checking out the whole map. Doing it on Toxic Sewer is going to be really awesome because it's a super short map with some dead ends, but very short. It's going to take almost no time to clear the whole boss. The map boss doesn't even have an arena, has no invulnerability phases, complete joke to kill, if I'm not mistaken. It's some kind of spider boss or something. So it's really easy. Waste Pool is another map down there, but it has a slightly more annoying boss, and it's a much bigger map than Toxic Sewer. So I'm thinking Toxic Sewer is the way to go here. And the very last thing to say on this subject is at this point, after I've been farming things for a while, I'm not going to immediately change my Atlas from this point. This is not completely finished yet, because I think there's still a way to improve this Atlas. One of the three ancillary farming strategies is going to be a little bit weak. I anticipate one of them. Whether, maybe Unspeakable Offensive is weak. Harbinger is going to be really good, but notice we don't get Auspicious Watchstone effect this time around. It's not on there. So Harbinger is going to be super good in the sense that Nemesis 3 is gone, which means Exalted Orbs are going to be worth a lot more than in the past, probably. All currency is going to be worth a lot more than in the past, unless the Arch Nemesis mechanic itself just spits currency out like there's no tomorrow. If that thing just spits currency out kind of like how Ultimatum did, or even more so, then maybe the best currency farming strategies will revolve around that and not like Harbinger. But again, we got no Auspicious, but we got everything else good going for us with Harbinger, plus a few extra bonus ones. But maybe Harbinger is the worst. And you know what? If it's not the worst and they're just all kind of dead even, I'll probably drop Harbinger because it takes extra time away from clearing the map. I have extra incentive to drop either Harbinger or Strongbox because I'm already having to pick between one of these two. It's nice getting one that's synergetic and that I can pick and choose, but it sucks having to choose between one or the other. There are scarabs I can run, but I don't really want to, again, it's not a primary farming strategy, so I don't really want to use scarabs probably, unless they're like dirt cheap and it's, you know, the sensible thing to do. Maybe Strongbox is garbage. You know, a Strongbox is going to scale really well. You know, I think Harbinger will have staying power. It'll always be decent in season, I suspect. But Strongbox is probably going to start off kind of weak, and it'll scale up because it actually, unlike the other things, it scales extremely well with Sextons. The quantity Sextant in particular. I foresee the end-game farming strategy involving Strongbox because of how powerful that Sextant is, and there's not, you know, with the removal of Nemesis. We're probably going to go back to something like divination card farming in the precinct for exalted shard cards, you know, something like that, or tower again. I anticipate that'll be my end game farming strategy, but that's not what this video is about, and I don't know yet, to be honest. So I may drop the Strongbox nodes, or I may drop Essence. You know, if the market crashes or it's not as good as people think it's going to be, and like, anyway, everyone's going to be farming it, so the market's going to be kind of weird on it. But the nice thing about Essence is it's not here on the crafting device, so it's not something I gotta feel like I gotta get rid of to help synergize my overall farming method. So let's just say, for example, that I feel the worst about Strongbox. Let's say the secret operations just ends up being garbage. It drops one Scarab. And, you know, while these two are obviously pretty decent, you know, Harbinger is just pumping out more. Harbinger's, you know, exalted shards are coming and going, and Essence is pretty good going, and I decide to get rid of Strongbox. Let's say that's the result. Because here's the thing. I want this, and this, and this, and this. These are gonna be so good this season. So many people running bosses, they're gonna want to buy influence maps, Elder influence, Shaper influence, Conquer influence, Cortex map. You know, they're gonna want to buy all of these. We're already really close here. That's weird. So we can go here and we can very quickly pick up the 0.5% chance, 0.5% chance, 0.5% chance to get a synthesis map. Killing the boss. I'm going to be killing map boss over and over and over and over and over and over. It just feels kind of dumb not to do it. It involves literally zero extra time because I'm just killing the boss I was otherwise killing anyway. And I have a chance to get a synth map from it. So here we go. I'm gonna end up, let's say, for example, that I think Strongbox is the weakest one. Kind of feel good about getting rid of Strongbox because that'd take a lot of extra nodes over here. To get it, okay, I just completely abandon Strongbox here. Completely get rid of it. All my Strongbox nodes are gone. I suddenly have a bunch of extra points. Okay, there's a few orbs if I'm making. Whatever, it's going to be worth it. Again, this is long game, not short game. Doesn't matter which way I go around. So now I have a 4% chance to get an Elder map, a 4% chance to get a Shaper map. I have a 1.5% chance to get a Synth map. And with how many times I'm going to be killing the map boss in Toxic Sewer, assuming I do Toxic Sewer, that's going to be worth it. Now, if the best map is something that you don't want to kill the map boss on because it's just super annoying to get through, to do, like Core was, well, then I won't do this strategy. Obviously, I'll just keep the other ones there. But I anticipate, I'm pretty confident. Man, I'm actually really confident about this. I thought this through pretty good, and I feel really good about it. Again, totally on the hype train. Part 3 is coming to a close here. Actually, you know, kind of just share with you here final thoughts in conclusion. So basically it looks like this. From my strategy from last season to farm my headhunter, going, you know, at like 6x an hour. We're going from T14 core to T16 toxic sewer. Going to be clearing the whole map, including the map boss. Why? Well, because I'm farming additional mechanics. I'm actually getting highly synergized farming strategy via Harbinger, Strongbox, as well as Essence, or at least 2 out of those 3 towards the end. I'm going to be getting double Blight encounters sometimes. What? That's insane. I'm going to be getting faster Blight encounters, unlike last time. So I'm going to get in and out of the map faster to help make up for some of the extra time I'm spending in the map. Toxic Sewer is super short and sweet anyway, so it won't be that bad. We get both exotic and mitogenic Watchstone modifiers. T1. We no longer have to choose. There's no longer any reason to speculate. You get both of them now. We get additional Blight notables resulting in extra currency, such as this down here, Distilled Fungus. We got a few more that we didn't get before, like this one came back, Oils, 25% chance to be higher. Also, perhaps one of the most important things that people are sleeping on, no longer going to be settling for T13 and T14 Blighted maps. We're now going to get T14, T15, and T16 Blighted maps, which is going to make a huge deal as they'll scale up. That means people do the T16 Blighted map. They can actually get T16 Blight Ravage maps out of that. And that's going to be a big deal. And people are going to pay a premium for those T16 maps. So that's, all things considered here, really going to want to finish the Atlas out before doing Blight. You're going to want to get that guaranteed T16. I have high hopes and a lot of faith that Toxic Sewer is going to be the go-to map. I'm not 100% sure. Unfortunately, I can't test it because it doesn't exist anywhere on the Atlas right now. But this right here is kind of the final form of what might, with 8 points to spare, by the way, this makes up for, I don't know, the feared and twisted, points that I don't get. I could maybe squeeze out the increased chance to get harvest here. Or do, other couple random things, like put that one strongbox back on the map. I don't know. But anyway, that's what it looks like, guys. What do you think? You agree? Is it a good map? A good Atlas passive? I'm here to take all the constructive criticism in the world. What are you guys planning to do? Do you think Toxic Sewer is going to be the go-to map? I think that's the biggest question of all. Do you think these notables here, Unspeakable Offense and Secret Operations, are going to be really good? What are your if you are planning to do Blight like I am, what are your side farms going to be? I thought about doing Delirium too, because, that doesn't require any extra time at all. Of course, it's not going to be very good in Toxic Sewer, but anyway. Yeah, and are you guys on the hype train too? Because, you're watching this video, you got 48 hours left. Let me know how you feel in the comments below. Good luck to you out there. I can't wait to see how y'all do. I can't wait to try it all out for myself. And one more video to make. I am going to come out with that Toxic Rain League start, for lack of a better word, guide. It's not really going to be a guide, but just kind of my plans. I'm going to plot out my point progression on Toxic Rain at the very least. Share that with you guys. There's other League start mapping builds that are potentially good. Tell me what you plan to do there on that front. But until then, get ready. A few more days. I'll catch you guys in the next league. See you around.